I was literally
Yeah.
cloud nine. Do you understand cloud nine? And then hey, I'm your host Alexis.
And I'm your co-host Truth.
Sit back and relax because you're
In good company.
Hey guys, so this past weekend, me and Truk saw one of our favorite artists,
Melanie Martinez.
If you guys are crybabies, I love you. Hey.
Hearts.
Hey. Or maybe you discovered her through one of her other albums or other eras. Like, everybody is welcome here. And if you don't know her music, maybe check it out. I feel like
check it out.
I feel
It's
like
a
you
fun,
enjoy
it's a
it.
blast.
Yes. So, because I saw Melanie Martinez with my dear friend, we were in the car after the concert and we were thinking about how Melanie Martinez is, the best way to put it is I was really thinking about this kind of introspectively. She's always playing a character, but that character is reflective of things she's been through or her different experiences. But she explained in an interview that she doesn't really like being perceived.
Mm-hmm.
And this character helps allow her to express herself, her artistry, without being, everybody's in her business all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking about other artists and how they actually cash in on their parasocial relationship. I say in quotations because I don't know, there's like a lot of lines to it, but the relationship they have with their fans or that they cultivate and the closeness that they feel with them. So when they release a new album, it's like almost like a FaceTime call. They're getting all the tea.
Yeah.
As if they're friends with this artist. And of course, people understand. I don't really know them, but it's cool feeling like I'm being let in on what's going on. But the other side is people who really do feel like they have this super close connection and they feel so seen by the artist, and it kind of ventures into a dangerous territory.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to be talking about fans, how far is too far, and exploring the parasocial relationships between fan and celebrity and the dynamics that we've seen emerge from this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Truk, I want to just ask you, because we all know we've been Melanie Martinez fans, but how long have you been a fan?
I've been a fan since middle school, as long as you. I would say this started in 2016, 2017.
Cool.
So also like 7-8 years, possibly.
Okay, so around the same time I've been a fan.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like just artists that you like, what do you feel is the levels in which you like them? Because like 1 to 10 intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10 is like a super fan and 1's
Right.
like very, very casual. Like
Right.
their song plays on the radio, I'm not turning it off.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a 4 or a 5. Like
Does it depend on the artist?
I think it does depend on the artist. You know that I'm not a big music person, and I listen to a lot of things casually.
That's true.
My most common genre is like pop. And the artists that I do kind of follow in and listen into on purpose, I don't feel that need to, buy everything that they offer. I don't feel the need to be a completionist with their work and see their whole artistry. I just listen to what I like. And, that's kind of my interaction with celebrities. I do follow celebrities on social media,
Right.
but it's not my main use of social media. And yeah, I feel like I'm a very casual fan for a lot of things.
Okay, so I would say out of the two of us, I am the more intense fan, but that doesn't mean like, it really
Right.
depends. I usually don't care for a lot of celebrities. I don't even really follow celebrities because I don't see a point to do so. I don't care enough about them. Like, I just don't care enough, but there's certain celebrities that kind of break through for me, and Melanie Martinez is one of them. And I would still say I'm not the same fan on a certain level. So if I had to rate it, I'm probably like a 6. And the reason I say 6 is because I wasn't going out of my way to buy merch before, but if I go to a concert with an artist, like, I would like to get their merch. I would purchase her vinyls. Melanie is very special to me because every album she's released, I like every song from every album, and that
heavy.
usually does not
Heavy.
happen. Somewhere along the line, I just fall through or I don't resonate with art as much, like one of their pieces of art. But even her EPs, like, for the most part, I really enjoy every song. So, and even saying that, it's more that I'm really a fan of the artistry
Mm-hmm.
rather than I'm hyper fixating on
the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's what she prefers for you to be with her music. I saw some interviews of her talking about it, and she really doesn't like being perceived, and that's why she likes to play these characters. And when I was thinking about that, I just immediately thought of Taylor Swift, and how Taylor Swift, I would argue, is one celebrity who has, y'all, the parasocial relationships go crazy. I am not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I'm not a Swiftie, but I do take note, and my cousin, you know who you are, babe. She's a huge Swiftie.
Yeah.
And I hear things, and I have heard people discuss how Taylor Swift has invited fans to her house to bake things.
Oh, that is new information for me.
That to me was actually,
how
do you feel safe enough to do that? Like,
yeah.
Or certain fans, which I think this is really cool when it happens. Not even Taylor per se, but I've seen clips of people being like, "Oh, I remember you," and they'll say a fan name because this fan has been to enough meet and greets.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a really nice touch if you remember somebody who's been supporting you. But I do feel, and I saw this TikTok about this. She's an influencer, and she talked about how she had a fan who would DM her and she would respond, but she was never DMing her first, right? And so she would try to be there for her, and she would vent to her. And then she explains how she had this pop-up event, invited a bunch of people, and girls like, "Oh, I'm so-and-so," says her username. She's like, "Oh, nice to meet you," this and that. But she's trying to, talk to a lot of people that day.
Of course.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm so happy everyone had a good time." Homegirl DMs her after. "I thought like it was really rude that you didn't talk to me, and like you didn't seem to recognize me, and clearly like this didn't our
relationship
didn't mean as much."
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing. Didn't mean as much to you as it to me, this and that. And she was like really taken aback. She's like, "We're not friends. Like I appreciate all my fans." And she's like, "I thought she had a great time." And then she was like, "I was realizing there's boundaries within the internet that, I didn't think weren't obvious, but other people may not see it the same way." And just seeing all these different perspectives just really had me thinking about the fact. And I think homegirl Melanie is very smart, because I don't know if it was her intention from the beginning, but because we're so focused on the clues within her music video, the story behind the character she's playing, that's who we feel, I think, extra connected to, because I do believe that she's writing about her own experiences. But also, it's not her.
Right.
Crybaby is not her.
Right.
And I think that was very smart of her to do.
I think the disconnect allows for people to view what she's trying to communicate as the art itself, and
rather than get messed up in the person.
Rather than be like, "Hey, you said this back in the day," and da 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 da.
Precisely.
There's more. It's more themed and message focused than person focused, and she's allowed to like communicate in a more free way without the attachment of herself and her history.
Heavy on that. So I was thinking about Taylor Swift because she is the most like clear, immediate example to me.
Right.
Taylor Swift inviting fans to her house. Taylor Swift, like, I don't know the extent of everything she's done, but I just know she does tend to have a very close relationship. She did like, a release party, and she had a party at her house, and I'm like, girl, these people were at your house. I'm not understanding this.
I also want to add, like, on a more artistic level and like on her music level, it's always been said that her songs are about her breakups and everything. That's not every song she makes, but some of her songs are, and that gives her fans like a behind the scenes look to a really intimate part of her life that like Melanie was able to separate. And I think that adds to the parasocial relationship, because people are like, we have an idea of what happened behind the scenes.
Heavy
we stand with you.
Purposely leaving clues, y'all. So these are some of the things that Taylor Swift has done. And this is I'm not bashing Taylor Swift. I'm simply using this as an example to show how deep this parasocial relationship. I understand why her fans feel so close to her. Okay, listening it out. Published her personal journal pages and 4 different versions of the Lover album, which is wild. Inviting fans to her house, which we have talked about, for secret sessions to listen to her albums before release dates. Let's see what else she has done. leaving, of course, we know like the leaving the secret messages and physical CDs, so like people can get like special versions. So it's just really creating this closeness, and I think that's why people go so hard for Taylor Swift, because it almost feels like defending like a family member. Like, this is Taylor, like, this is my girl, like, leave her alone. And that's why the Swifties can be intense to me. They are very intense. Y'all are intense. Y'all are almost not the same as like BTS intensity, but I would argue that to me it feels like it's on the same scale somewhere.
I agree. They definitely lay very close to each other in the spectrum of fan intensity and parasocial relationships.
Heavy on that. And just continuing with this conversation as a whole, Truk, I'm really curious. Besides Taylor Swift, have you seen any other artists utilize their fans in this way? Or, because I think they're able to, the people who support them, if they feel close to them, they feel a fondness for them, they really want to see them succeed.
So I don't know if I can name any other artists because I don't really keep track or keep update with those things. But I can say this happens a lot in the YouTube community, especially in the early 2010s.
Heavy on that.
Because these people are essentially vlogging their life. They're vlogging their experience, and fans can watch in and see the behind the scenes and feel for these content creators.
Even like family YouTubers.
Heavy on family YouTubers.
And the thing about them that really pisses me off is it's one thing to want to document your own life, but to document your kids' life before they are able to fully comprehend, or even if they can comprehend, I don't care. That is so, like, so many people are in their business. And that's beyond, I think, that's like the ultimate parasocial relationship in my opinion.
Because you have seen this child from birth to wherever they are.
And people on the internet are really weird.
I agree.
And the way, I would even argue AI is getting, people take their images, and the idea of an image of you being taken when you were like a kid and you couldn't consent to it, and now it's being used for God knows what, that's horrifying. Like, I've even seen family vloggers talk about finding their kids on corn sites. I'm not going to say it exactly. That's terrifying. I would just quit the internet. Like, I don't even know what to do at that point. And I think, as I said, you think there are certain lines that people won't take advantage of, they won't cross, but there are a lot of people out there, and someone will.
And also, like, the anonymity of being online adds to the fuel of they feel like they can do more. They're free to come up with their own conclusions of what is right and what is wrong. And like, it truly comes down to like how they view your content and your artistry.
Also like a mob mentality, because when a lot of people are so intense about someone or about, like, because you, even once again, I'm going back to Taylor Swift, because when I think of her, I think of the way people who do her wrong, or even Olivia Rodrigo, when they write songs about their exes or their ex, their ex, it's the bad guy in everybody's story who supports them, which I'm not even going to choose a side with that, because I feel like that has a lot of nuance. Unfortunately, as an artist, you want to write about your experiences, and maybe that's even a cathartic way for you to express yourself. But on the flip side, because your fans are so passionate, because a casual fan is not going to start hate DMing your ex, okay? I would never sit here and do that. I don't care enough.
We don't got the time for it.
I sympathize, I empathize with her. I'm like, dang, I get it. But I'm not going to sit here and do that. But some fans have sending death threats to them, to their family, to their coworkers, everybody. And to me, that's a level of, you can't really control your fans, sure, but at the same time, when you don't chastise them,
if you don't call them out and you are not, I guess, careful with how you are feeding them the information.
Oh my goodness, like, y'all.
Yeah?
I'm just thinking of when Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, on and off.
Yeah.
And at some point, I don't remember which girl Justin was dating, but Selena commented under his little thing, like, oh my gosh, wait, this was lore. I'm like trying to find
early 2000s.
I'm trying to find what exactly she said, but basically she's commented something underneath this man's post about, like, something about, you know, something fans, I don't know. She was basically alluring to the fact on, this is, you know, your fans want to know about you, and you know, you shouldn't hold your fans, you shouldn't be mad at your fans if they don't like who's in your life, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
I hope I can, like, insert it. But then Justin like turned off his comments and he was like pissed. He's like, you guys, he's like, as my fans, you should like, you know, if I love somebody, you should love them too, this and that. And people were not going for it because they were so invested in his relationship with Selena.
Right.
That's another thing. People
feel entitled to how one artist may
they feel
take
entitled to speak on your relationship or, you know, say how they feel. Because I've even seen people say, oh, if you and like so-and-so break up, like, I don't believe in love. Why are they your definition of love? You can admire their relationship.
Yes.
And you can say that's a shame, but
it is their life that they lead, and the actions they took are based on their experiences that are unrelated to your experiences.
It's only people who are online chronically online.
We need to talk about a chronically online episode.
I think I argue that most people have been there at one point in their life. They've been too invested in something that isn't really matter.
Yeah.
But also, I think when I feel too invested, if it stops being fun for me, I don't want to be invested anymore.
Right.
If it's kind of like a fun hee hobby.
Mm-hmm.
No, finish your thought.
Like if it's a negative thing and it's draining your energy, I feel like that's when you have to take this step back.
Yeah, like these people be running like fan accounts, fan accounts. I quickly want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, free advertisement 24/7, making edits, tweeting out, like, let's do hashtag get this trending, this and that. Like, y'all are basically working for this artist free. Like, you're free because you're doing all this to promote them just because you like them. And that's why when an artist will like a tweet or retweet, it's like, oh my goodness,
it's the biggest honor.
Yeah, truly. Like, y'all, I remember huge Zendaya fan growing up. When her Vogue magazine came out, I took a photo with it. I was 13. I said, got this, first and only Vogue magazine, got this for you as Zendaya. Before I even got home, Zendaya liked the tweet. I was freaking out. All right? So she liked it. It was so cool. Like 2 days later, she retweeted the tweet. I was literally cloud nine. Do you understand cloud nine? And then a week or so later, she used to have an app, and she was like, my favorite tweets this week about my Vogue magazine. And I was in the list, and I was literally like, oh my God.
You ate.
Oh my God. So what I'm saying is that was so exciting to me, right? But I also understood, unfortunately, me and Zendaya were not going to be besties now.
Yeah.
I was 13. She was grown. But it's things like that where I do think it's really nice when an artist acknowledges their fans and acknowledges their support. But there's definitely a line. And it gets weird. And I think of all the YNY Wattpad fan fiction.
Yes.
Where she goes to the concert, she's reading a book.
Wow.
And it's like,
I forget about this kind of content that exists.
We're really just delusional.
Yeah.
But it's in a fun way. I don't think that's serious. Like, that's so unserious to me, but it's so fun.
But also, there is a line because you know the whole after Netflix show and how that was based on One Direction.
Yeah. So then people are in Harry's business all the time.
Yeah. And it's like, I think there's this line that fans are teeter-tottering on all the time. And maybe it goes down to like what other things they have going on with themselves.
I would argue.
I might cut that out.
I think it's how much they project and let you see about them. How close do they make you feel to who they are as a person? But sometimes people feel obligated to know a lot about you just because of whatever job you have. Like actors, some actors would rather be private. They don't want you to know anything about them. They want to go to work, do their job, and go home. But people say there's a level of entitlement we feel because at the end of the day, we're the reason you even get in shows. We're the reason you were coming out to see your stuff. So it's like, where is the boundary? Because I even wonder with InGoodCompany, this is meta, I'm like talking to the fourth wall. We get more popular, right? And what do our new fans look like? Because we're sharing a lot about ourselves on the internet. But at the same time, there's a level of, things that we know wouldn't be appropriate to share. And I just wonder, how do y'all perceive it? How do you guys perceive it? I'm just really curious. And will we one day have a fan and they're gonna clip this that's like obsessed, and then they're gonna clip this video, they'll be like, they called it.
They were like, here's my perspectives, here's my 2 cents.
There'll be fans who like they go to their houses. Like Miranda Cosgrove talked about on a podcast.
Oh yes, I do remember this.
She had a super fan who tried to kill her. That's insane to me, because all respect to Miranda Cosgrove, what has she done to create a parasocial relationship? I feel like she minds her business and does her stuff.
I mean, there has been countless of stories of celebrities having stalkers and people who just want to get ingrained into their lives. And I think that's more like sometimes it's not to the fault of the celebrity, and it's just like the audience that they appease to.
I agree. No,
and just
I actually agree
the community that they happen to fall into, and like what communities are attracted to their
of course
figure.
Celebrities always have to be on. Like, you meet a celebrity, they don't want to take a photo, they're not in a good mood, and all of a sudden you feel personally disrespected. Like, I supported you and you couldn't even give me the time of day, and da 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 da. And at the end of the day, these are people, and people have bad days. And that's why, oh my goodness, when I was younger, I really wanted to be in shows. I wanted to act. I wanted to be in the public eye because I wanted the perks that came with it, right? The older I've gotten, the more perspective I've just acquired. I'm like, I don't want that at all, because there's a level of privacy you will never get back. There's a lack of privacy you're never ever gonna get back, because people simply feel entitled because of what you do. A singer, model, actress, maybe even like super famous dancer. I would argue,
I mean, anybody that is on televised.
True, but I do think when it becomes to people who are in the entertainment industry, people almost want that. They glamorize it more, because a famous doctor might be getting stopped within his field. Or like,
I mean, Dr. Miami.
If you saw Dr. Miami on the street, would you actually stop that man?
No.
Because it crossed over into internet, though.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It does cross over to
Dr. Miami in general. And I think that's the difference.
Right.
Like, even I sometimes think about our podcast, and it would be, oh my gosh, I know InGoodCompany. That's so fun. But if it came to the point where I'm getting mobbed, you're not seeing my face anymore. like, I don't want to put up with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's real, though, because we glamorize it so much, but I don't think it's that much fun. I don't think it's that much fun at all, and I don't crave that.
It's genuinely just like eyes on you all the time.
That's
basically
exhausting. I'm like, I feel you never actually get a break because you're always being watched. And that to me, that's simply exhausting. So I do feel for these different public figures. And some of them love it. Some of them love the spotlight. They don't have it.
I mean, how would you know? Maybe
just
they're just
the way they
up.
act when they don't have it on them. And they start doing, I feel like they rage bait, or they're saying things. There's some people who, I think if the spotlight isn't on them, they're like, I'm doing something wrong, like da-da-da. But I think other people are simply like, this is just the job I wanted, but I don't necessarily want what comes with it.
And everybody's different with what, they seek in life too.
Yes. So, True, have you ever met a superfan? Do you know any?
I genuinely don't think I've ever met a superfan. I've ran into some girls who are really into BTS, but they're not superfans. Like, they're casual,
Yeah.
They enjoy the music. They follow up with the interviews. They follow up with the game shows. But I feel like that is regular fan behavior, and I've never had a bad interaction with fans.
Can I say I almost feel that part of me doesn't even want to be perceived as a super fan, because being a young woman or a teenage girl and being seen as a super fan, you're people looking at you like you're weird, like you've got bug eyes. Because if you think, because I think there's also a little bit that to it. Do I keep myself in check because I don't want the callousness that comes with being so invested in something?
Yeah.
Especially if it's certain fandoms, because certain spaces, it's fine if you're here, that's cool. But other spaces like Twilight fans, I'm so sorry. I would argue certain Taylor Swift fans can get a really bad rep, but then also people feel like that's reflective of what Taylor Swift is doing and why do you support this, and then it gets complicated, right? But I think when it's just like media you enjoy, anything that's too like girly, or I don't even know, something that the mass media majority of people don't understand why you like it so much, then they're dogging on you for it. Or even the way Melanie Martinez switched up the whole like look, like her entire look, and some people said she's just too weird for me, like I don't like it, like I miss her old aesthetic, like this and that. And why say that? Like just keep it to yourself. I don't know. I think there's a level to that, like misogyny.
No, I actually had a TikTok in mind that like I was starting a little bit early, but there was this TikTok. This was in regard to the K-pop community and the sports community. How both fans can get really riled up, especially when there are when BTS is performing or when a sports game is playing, the prices go egregious and like people are fighting over each other and toppling over each other to, you know, get this experience of being in the stadium and experiencing everything live. And, you know, sports fans tend to be more like guys and K-pop fans tend to be more like girls. Obviously that's not the case.
Women don't even women don't feel comfortable in sports spaces, because I've seen women talk about how they get heckled, they get they get like catcalled, and they don't even want to go to these games because they don't feel safe.
Right. And it's like both sides, both fandoms are fans at the end of the day, but one is viewed more normal and one is more normalized in society compared to the other, just because
perception,
you're a bunch of girls. Like what you said earlier about misogyny, like I've definitely heard that conversation come up before.
And I will say I don't think this is hypocritical, it's just interesting. I'm thinking about this more, and I don't like to be super invested in people. I usually am not, you know, super into celebrities. I'm a big music person, but not always the band behind it, more just the music.
The artistry.
Right. But when I think about it, I am a super fan when it comes to certain fandom spaces, like an anime, a cartoon, a book series.
But there's a disconnect. That's not a person. That is, you are obsessed over a character.
That's
and
true.
what they represent.
But I'm saying I know
art.
I'm capable of being a super fan because I totally am in certain spaces. And I also will say sometimes I get hyperfixated on the actors, but only because the actors are portraying my favorite characters. And I'll follow them because they play that character, and I'll want to meet them because they play that character. But I'm not DMing them. You know what I'm saying? It's still a lie.
There's a level of separation that you know that
and
you have.
And sometimes my heart breaks because I look at their social media and I'm like, they look vastly different than this character. And they don't have to look like them, but I'm like, what happened?
You're actually real for that, because I actually do follow this actor who played a specific character in a show I watched. Obviously, I've done the same thing, is what I'm saying.
You know how many Korean dramas I watch and then I just go find all the leads? I'm like, they're all hot.
Real.
I know. They'll pop up on my feed. I'm like, wait, what the heck were they in? And I'll blank on it. Because mind you, all their stuff is in a different language. So I'll put translate and I'm like, oh, new project.
Yeah.
Support. And I'll be so lost. But I think it's cute to be a fan. I think it's nice to show people that you support them and you appreciate their talent and the effort they're putting into their work. But to not make them feel like they need to be fearful for where they live or where their house is. And I wonder if Taylor Swift's MO is like, if they feel close to me, like, I'll sell more. I really do love my fans. But also, is it partly like, if all my fans love me to this intensity, they'll never actually want to hurt me? Because I can't figure out why she would let them in her house. Is that a prop house? Is that her real house?
I was about to say that. I was like, I'm sure she does put up levels of like safety precautions for herself, because you can't have that many fans and not take safety precautions. But also the fans who get invited to these things
maybe feel like they're in a secret club. They feel like, oh, I'm not telling anybody because I want to be Taylor's friend and I want to do this and that. And there is almost like special spaces within a fandom, because you know those other fans who get to go to all the meet and greets and are always in the front row and cultivate like these parasocial, you know, maybe this celebrity recognizes your name and you start to feel like I have a relationship with them above other people. Like that one girl, Billy, was reposting this really pretty girl on TikTok, and she got on a podcast and said, Billy DMs me. Billy wants to be. I'm gonna date Billie Eilish.
I'm dead.
And then everybody was like, "You literally? Why did you? You are not gonna date Billy now."
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where that's gonna go, but I'm saying stuff like that. It's this level of, I feel like I'm above the other fans because I'm getting more attention than them. I even think about the fact of like certain celebrities will DM people, or this one girl's like, I'm going on a date with Shawn Mendes on Raya. Then she told everybody, and Shawn Mendes blocked her on Raya.
Yeah.
It's like, girl, you could have been out with Shawn Mendes.
Right. I think it's also like, if you put them on a pedestal, that is where you start tripping up, because you kind of, there's this curtain that you put over yourself of they are only this caricature, also, like, rather than
the
as
lack
a person.
of critique within fan spaces. Sometimes I think fans feel any critique you have towards somebody they support is a personal attack on who they are as a person, especially if they are a woman, they are a person of color, they are some type of minority. You're like, you're only saying this because they're black, you're only saying this because they're white. Well, maybe they actually did something out of pocket that needs to be addressed, and maybe some of it is misogyny, and maybe some of it is racism, but that's not all the people talking about it.
Because at the end of the day, it's like the person and their action more than
heavy
their
on that.
identity.
And that's what people were saying. And as we wrap up, when you have a brand as celebrity, sometimes it's best to not, your brand shouldn't be you, because you're going to go up and down in popularity levels. But if you create a classic brand that stands the test of time, outside of what you're doing, people just like your product.
Right.
And I think
you ate that.
Thank you.
I really like how you phrased that.
Of course. Thank you.
I mean, I technically already shared my bit, so
no.
Alexis,
yeah, I'm
your
saying
song?
The reason, shout out to that one guy on TikTok who does all these brand reviews. He's from Canada.
Oh. Wait. I might know who you're talking about.
Maybe we'll put one of his videos.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's a lot of fun. But anyway, I want to do my little wrap up bit. And guys, today I'm going to be recommending a song and shouting out an artist because I have a lot of respect for them. Next to You by Kalani is in support of Palestine, and
amazing.
I literally had the Palestine bags in it, had the kafiyas, I believe.
Okay, yes, I know what you're talking about.
If I pronounce that wrong, apologies. I think y'all know what I mean. And all the money that's being made is going to, I believe it is the Olive Branch.
Yes. Operation Olive Branch is a very stable.
Yeah, and the proceeds are being divided between Congo, Sudan, Palestine, and I think that is just so amazing. And I really, really love when artists speak up and you feel proud of an artist you support. Yeah. So shout out to Kalani.
Woo!
And stream.
So speaking of Operation Olive Branch, I think it's also important because I recently learned about the eSIMs that they have been supporting. Essentially, eSIMs are embedded SIM cards that provide phones with internet access. And you guys can go through their Instagram where they have, and we'll also link this in our description. But essentially to donate eSIMs to Palestine in order for us to stay connected to them and in order for media to continue coming out so that we can document this time. They set up a really intuitive guide for you guys to check out. If you are able to support, please check out the link, but if not, just share that this is the resources that they are looking for at the moment.
And educating yourself is the first step. Yes, but thank you everyone who watched this episode. I hope you found this conversation insightful. Leave any of your thoughts below. My mom had a fun bit. How do y'all perceive us? I'm so curious. Put a word down below. How are we being perceived?
Yeah, but shout out to Bobby
and shout out to the Humanities Department. We love you guys, and we will see you next Thursday.
Bye.